Everyone loves to celebrate intelligence. We admire the quick thinkers, the innovators, the people who seem to solve problems with ease. But there's a strange contradiction that often goes unnoticed. Some of the most brilliant minds appear, on the surface, to be lazy. Maybe you've seen it in someone you know. Maybe you've felt it yourself. The student who aces every test but never turns in homework. The artist who spends hours lost in thought, barely touching their canvas. The entrepreneur who dreams up a dozen ideas but never seems to finish one. To the outside world, it looks like a lack of effort. But what if it's something else entirely? This is the paradox of the so-called lazy genius. Let's start with the myth we've all been taught, that hard work is the only path to success. If you're not constantly busy, you're falling behind. But for the highly intelligent, the mind doesn't always work in a straight line. It leaps from idea to idea, dives deep into complexity, and sometimes burns out before any action is taken. What looks like procrastination is often a mind working overtime. The lazy genius isn't avoiding work. They're running through every possible scenario in their head before they even begin. Their brain is simulating outcomes, spotting flaws, and predicting mistakes. It's not a lack of motivation. It's analysis paralysis. When you can see every possible ending before you start, it's hard to know where to begin. Then there's the fatigue that comes from constant awareness. Gifted minds don't just think deeply. They notice everything, every detail, every sound, every shift in mood or energy. This constant intake of information is exhausting. By the time action is required, the genius mind is already tired. It's not that they don't care. It's that they've already cared too much. What looks like detachment is often just emotional and sensory fatigue, a kind of burnout that's invisible to everyone else. Another part of the paradox is the war between perfection and action. The smarter you are, the more you notice imperfections in your work, in yourself, in the world. So you wait, you hesitate, you want to get it right, but perfection never comes. You see flaws others would never notice, and that awareness can freeze you in place. While others jump in and learn by doing, the genius mind holds back, waiting for the perfect moment that never arrives. There's also a hidden energy cost to deep thinking. Most people don't realize that intense thought burns real physical energy. A genius mind doesn't just think more, it thinks harder. After hours of mental work, the body can feel drained, even if you haven't moved at all. That's why some of history's greatest minds took long walks, napped often, or seemed unproductive. They weren't wasting time. They were managing their energy, saving it for moments of true insight. And here's the final twist. Even when a genius seems lazy, their mind is never truly at rest. Underneath the stillness, ideas are forming, connections are being made. The quiet moments, daydreaming, staring out the window, are when creativity incubates. Some of the world's greatest breakthroughs happened not at a desk, but in a garden, a bathtub, or on a walk. The genius mind works in waves, not straight lines. Force it to be constantly productive, and it collapses. Give it space, and it ignites. So if you've ever been called lazy, unmotivated, or a procrastinator, take a moment to reconsider. Is it really laziness? Or is it the exhaustion that comes from thinking deeply, feeling intensely, and holding yourself to impossible standards? The genius mind isn't lazy. It's overwhelmed by its own potential. It hesitates not because it doesn't care, but because it cares so much about doing things right. The answer isn't to force yourself to be productive every second. It's to understand your own rhythm. Give your mind the rest and space it needs, because that's when your real genius will shine through. If any of this sounds familiar, remember, you're not broken. You're not lazy. You're simply running a high-performance mind in a world that doesn't always understand. Let yourself rest. When you're ready, you'll create something extraordinary.